Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'm Susie, and this is the Susie Unshaped sessions where we unshape all your old belief systems and programming and start to live from our hearts more. So I know I've been talking about living from your heart more, but I suppose I haven't. I need to go back a few steps, I suppose, in case you don't even know what I mean by that. Because we have been living in our heads for our entire lives, pretty much. You would have definitely had some heart-based living, which has just happened incidentally, but learning how to actually live in your heart and trust it and listen to what it's saying, that is what I have thought I might talk to you about today. So the reason why this came about actually is I think on the end of yesterday's live, yesterday I was in a funk. I couldn't get out of it. Didn't know which way was up. Nothing was feeling heart-based. Everything was feeling meh. And I signed off saying I had no idea where the rest of the day was going to go. I had some 3D obligations, e.g. driving kids places. Anyway, I dropped them to a basketball training session. And then on my way home, I actually said, which way do I want to go? And then so my heart popped up. I didn't want to go the normal way home. I wanted to actually go left instead of right, which was like, okay, I'm just going to go left instead of right. I have no idea why. And I think that part there is the trust part. So number one, ask your heart what it wants. So it can be as simple, and I'll tell you another story after this about doing that, because I have done that exact thing on a much bigger scale. But so I went left, and it's the longer way home. It's not the fastest way. I was like, okay, I'll go with it. And as I was driving along the longer way home, there was a little mouse that ran in front of me across the road, and I had to slow right down. I think I could have even stopped to let this little mouse cross the road. And I thought, wow, I've never seen a mouse cross the road in my entire life. In fact, I've probably only seen 2 mice my entire life. Oh, apart from a mice plague I saw when I was out west once. Do not recommend. And then the other car come the other way, let the little mouse keep going. And he was only small. And just, I suppose, his then also see the signs. Like, a mouse running across the road is a sign of what? I'm not sure. I did sort of delve into it a little bit after that, and it was something about the fact that something so small still stopped me and my big car. I have a big car we stopped for it and we let it pass, and the other car stopped for it and we let it pass. So something so little is still like, just its presence there made 2 massive forces stop from running it over. So I don't know, it was a sign that was right. Like, you get confirmations when you listen to your heart, and I think the mouse was a sign that, yes, keep going. Interestingly, I want to tell you the biggest story when I did this. So in 2022, I started to expand my business into the US. So it was still, I don't think we could travel yet from COVID. Oh no, we could travel in 2022. 2021, I started expanding my business into the US. And then 2022, I was supposed to go over. I had a trip booked with a friend, and we were going over to Texas because that's where my stock was. And I didn't know why or what. I just knew if I wanted to work in the US, I had to get into the US physically and get my energy over there and feel the energies and just align with everything. Anyway, the universe said, you are not going on that trip. So literally, like 2 days or 3 days before I was going to go, I was jumped on to get my ESTA, which is the visa waiver. And it was like denied. And I'm like, oh God, what is it denied for? Anyway, I then proceeded to spend the next 36 hours like Googling and trying to find out what the problem was, resubmitting it. I think you can resubmit it every so often. It like opens it up, and I thought, oh, maybe it's because I didn't put this in, or maybe I put in the wrong thing here. So I adjusted the inputs, and still the same. No entry, basically. In the end, I tracked it down to the fact that I hadn't had my I-94 recorded properly when I'd left at the end of 2019, just before COVID hit. And so on their system, I'd overstayed my visa by about 2 years. So obviously they weren't happy with that. Anyway, long story short, I could not fix the problem. They wanted proof I'd left the country. Australia, even though we are electronic into the country, we can't get our records electronically. You have to request them in a paper form. It takes 45 days. Long story short, that trip did not happen. There was a big sign, that was a very big sign, that I was not meant to go. Fast forward, I repeated that trip 12 months later, which is interesting. It was nearly 12 months to the day. And I knew I had to go to Texas. I didn't have a friend coming with me this time. And I had no idea where I was going in Texas, what I was doing in Texas. I'd never even driven in the US. So all I did was had a ticket to Texas and out of Texas on certain dates. And I booked a car. So I'd never driven in the US at all. So I landed in Texas with a car. I didn't even have my first night's accommodation booked. Like, I did not know where I was going when I landed there. And then a string of events happened on my way to Texas. One, I got kicked off my flight, which also has never happened to me in my life. It shouldn't have happened. There's no reason for it. And I got diverted to go, instead of via Melbourne, I had to go via Sydney. And that gave me a very long lounge wait time. So I was in the lounge for a long time. Number one, I met an amazing woman and connected with her, and we are still friends today. So that was number one, great diversion, universe diverting me for a reason. And number two, because I had such a long wait in Texas, I had posted on my stories about the long wait and on my way to where I was on my way to. And from that, a friend said, "Oh my God, I'm landing in Dallas tonight too. So we're staying in Fort Worth." So I was like, great. Okay. So I think she sent that to me whilst I was in the air. So when I landed, I got my car and then I said, okay, Fort Worth. So I booked somewhere in Fort Worth and then drove very slowly after a very long transit time, because I think I had to wait in Sydney for 9 hours plus the 16-hour flight, etc. So it was a long day. And drove the half an hour to Fort Worth, got to my hotel, which was not where I'd hoped it would be, but that's okay. I also learned that don't trust Priceline neighborhood guides and mystery deals. So if you want to stay somewhere, just book somewhere where it is you want to stay. Anyway, so that was my inspiration to go to Fort Worth. And then I was like, I knew I wanted to go and see the Stockyards area. So I went in because I'd been to, a friend had said, you must go to Stockyards. So I went there and just wandered about, and it was amazing and I loved it. And then I found a beautiful hotel, Hotel Drover. If you're ever in Fort Worth, you must go to Hotel Drover. Even if you don't stay there, just go, because the bar and the restaurant there and then the outside area is just amazing. And then I met a couple of people there in Fort Worth that night while I was waiting. She wasn't getting in till later, so we're meeting the next day. And then I met another great friend who lives north of Dallas, and she was like, we're still friends today as well. So out of that, I've already got 2 new friends under my belt, and it's only probably been 36 hours. I then just let the entire rest of the trip, and I won't bore you with all the details, but the rest of the trip just unfolded like that. A friend had said, meet this person. So I then the next day, so I met my friend. That was great. On the following morning, we had a fabulous brunch chatting to the bartender and some other locals that were in Fort Worth for the weekend. And we just had an absolutely fabulous time. And then I gained my gumption and drove from Fort Worth to Houston, having never driven in the US apart from my 30 minutes the day before, and straight into the initiation of Texas highways. So wow. Well, they're an experience. And I think once you've driven on a Texas highway and you can get that down pat, I think you can pretty much drive anywhere. And then I also then initiated myself by driving in Houston. So I think those two together, if you wanted to have an American driving lesson, just drive from Fort Worth to Houston and then around Houston for a bit and you'll be good. Anyway, so the rest of the trip happened like that. And one thing led to the next. Like, I didn't know. Some days I actually drove one place. One night I thought I was heading back to Fort Worth. So I drove out of Houston and stayed in this funny little motel place, but about an hour out. And then I got diverted the next morning to Austin instead, because the Fort Worth appointment canceled. So then I was going to Austin instead. And by the fact that I was the hour outside of Houston meant I took a completely different road than if I'd been leaving directly from Houston to Austin. And the road was one of the most beautiful roads with the most beautiful countryside that I have ever seen. Like, it was just stunning, like lush green, amazing, because lots of the American highways are very industrial and built up and real highway, whereas this was more like a country road, really, country highway, and it was just stunning. So I think I ended up driving about 2,400 miles on that trip in about 10 days. So by the end of it, we can say I can now drive in the US. And I can give you more details about that story on another day. But just if you want to practice this, I challenge you with have no agenda, maybe even hop in your car or go to the bus stop and ask your heart, where do I want to go? You might not even know at the beginning. Maybe it just says start driving. And then at the end of the street, you say, am I going left or right? And then it will tell you left or right. Listen, I want to go left. You can check. If it says left, you say, you sure you want to go left? It will say, yes, left. So just practice that with yourself and see where you land, see where you end up, see what you end up doing. Like, so once it's left down to the next street, do I want to go right or left? And try having a play around with it, with taking away all expectations of what you think you're doing and where you think you're going, and give that a go. Okay, that was my son calling me. I don't know if that came through on the audio, but whoops, need to put mute on. But love you lots. Better go get him. Okay, bye.